Hey folks, how's it going? Thanks for joining me today. I'm out and about, just over in Roosevelt Island again. The weather here is just like jumped from 15 degrees for the last like 2 weeks, 10-15 degrees to 30 degrees overnight, so it's kind of sweltering out here. It's not good for my pasty complexion. So yeah, I guess my first piece of advice to de-stress your photography experience, and it's primarily for beginners and people just starting out, and that is the exposure triangle. You've got to know the exposure triangle. You know, anyone can drive an automatic car, they can make it move, but not everybody can drive a manual car. And that's a really bad example, but if you get what I'm saying, like anyone can take a photograph in automatic mode. But if you really want to kind of progress and get the camera to do what you want and to work with you, you have to learn exposure triangle. Understand how aperture, shutter speed and ISO all work together. And then that way you can lessen your frustrations because you know exactly what's happening when you're on location. Don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with using automatic and stuff, but from my experience, for me, and if you're like me at all, not knowing the triangle will frustrate you so much. That's all I'm going to say. Then I would say make sure you're prepared. And what I mean is make sure you have your settings dialed in before you leave the house, because you never know what's going to happen. You never know what you're going to see, and the last thing you want to be doing is see something and have to faff around with the settings on your camera. You can use maybe use custom settings, have one maybe for shutter speed, have one for aperture, whatever the case may be, but be prepared. You ask any photographer, and everybody at some stage has missed photos because they were faffing around with their settings. And then just on the settings too as well, like I think more and more people are starting to use auto ISO. I use it all the time, especially, sorry, I don't use it all the time, but I use it most of the time, especially on bright blue sky days like today, or just bright days in general, because it's just one less thing I have to worry about. Now that will change in low light, because if you want a certain shutter speed or a certain aperture in low light, you're going to have to play with your ISO. So just keep that in mind too if you are using auto ISO, because you don't want to go into the numbers where you're creating so much noise in your images. Please allow yourself to make mistakes and give yourself some grace when you're making decisions. And what I mean is, I'm often out in the city and I'll find a great location and I'll spend 20 minutes waiting for the perfect subject to come into frame. And then I notice the light's changing, the composition is changing, but I see there's light over here somewhere else. And I'll go and I'll miss the light, and I will give myself hell for not staying in my first location. So don't be too hard on yourselves. It'll just cause a downward spiral for the rest of the day, and you won't be happy. not working out for you, don't be afraid to adapt. And then if that doesn't work out, don't give yourself a hard time. You have to be willing to adapt in photography. There's too many outside elements outside of your control that will impact your process. Blue sky days, grey sky days, rain, whatever the case may be. If something's not working for you, give yourself grace, change it up. Go black and white, do some abstract stuff. Compare yourself to other people. I'm guilty of that. Have been in the past. I've kind of come to figure out that there's no point, because if you go on that road, it doesn't do you any good whatsoever. Don't worry about finding a style. Okay, just concentrate on taking the best photographs you can take. Style will come. I don't know if I have a style even. I just think that's something that is ever growing and ever changing. And then all I'm going to say about this one really is just, and I've been guilty of it, because everything I've spoken about in this video, I've done, I do at some stage, is gear. Try not to get too concerned about what gear you have. Gear is important to a degree, but it's not the be all and end all. As I said before, it's not the specs of a camera that make the photograph. It's the person that's holding the camera is the one that delivers the photograph. Do certain specs help? Absolutely. That's undeniable, but still. And I know for gear it's a tough one, because I think we're kind of built to think that the more expensive it is and the more specs it has, the better it is. It's not always the case. Best camera for you is the one that you want to pick up every day and photograph. So I tried to practice the fact that I'm going to allow myself and let go and just be, you know, because otherwise stress and frustrations will just take over, and that will be that.